Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we'll be reviewing this Cadillac Lyriq with a very unique paint job. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Provo Cadillac for giving me some time with this Lyriq. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Now, I've reviewed quite a few of these Lyriqs, so I'm just going to dive into the important specs in my opinion. So this is the all-wheel drive one. You got about 500 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque, and driving range is a little bit over 300 miles. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the hood, this is where you can see the first part of this color. Now, sadly, the sun decided to go behind some clouds, so you can't really see as much as you could before, but it's a very dynamic color. It's like a color shift paint job. So here, you can kind of see it's got more of like a pinkish hue to it in a way, but then if you look kind of off in the distance, there's some more blue hue to it, and you can see on the pillar how that kind of changes more to the blue, almost to a gray. It's a really dynamic paint color. Now I've got the really cool headlight design here with the new Lyriq. If I press the unlock function, you can kind of see there. I think that's fun. And then it also fill in just like with the Escalade. You can see it does again. It's kind of a fun little animation with the Lyriq. But yeah, overall, for an electric vehicle, it is really cool looking with the front end. Now around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 275/40/22 in the front and over in the rear. And the wheel design on this is pretty cool. So it's closed off for aerodynamic efficiency on certain parts, which is obviously a practical thing, but it also just looks good. I like the black painted fender flare here. You can see that bodywork continues, same thing with the mirror. And I think this side is maybe the best to tell the paint color. So you can see the shift here. So notice how it goes kind of like pinkish to purple, and then you got like a gray, and then it goes to like a blue hue towards the back. And if I take a few steps back, maybe you guys will be able to see that a little bit better. But yeah, really cool paint color. I don't want to know how difficult it would be to like repaint this car if it ever needed that, but it's still a fun thing to see in person. I mean, look at that. Now taking a look at the key fob, we have our lock and unlock function, remote start. We got the opening for the hatch and then the Cadillac logo. Now taking a look at the cargo space, it's practical. Got a cargo cover here, got that to fold down the seats. So quite a bit of practicality. The only downside about the Lyriq is, you guys saw, it doesn't have a frunk, but I mean the trunk makes up for a lack of a frunk, I suppose. Closing that, it's so cool to see this paint color, just how dynamic it is. That's so fun. Look at the taillight design here on the back. By the way, you press the Cadillac emblem to open up the rear hatch. So putting it all together, let me know what you guys think about the looks of the Lyriq in general, and then let me know what you think about this particular paint color. This is one of those colors where, I don't know, I think that it could look okay on different cars, but like it works really well on this car because of all the crazy body lines. And then inside, this one's a Sport 2, I believe, but yeah, really nice interior. You can see like the finish there on the handle, for example. Look at the control, and then these seats perforated all down this center, and getting in is really easy. You just kind of slide across. Great legroom, storage. I like how there's stitching on the back of the seat. I think that's hilarious. Got your own climate zone there, and these seats, by the way, are very plush. And the headroom, it's good. Now take a look at the front door panel again. Really nice material use, just like the back. Got heated and cooled seats, memory seats, seat adjustment, massaging seats as well. It's got everything. See all the controls for the windows, mirror adjustment, blind spot ring with the mirrors. And look at these front seats, they're crazy looking. Perforated all down the center. And then you can see pretty normal pedal layout, and then get a nice finish on these controls here. And then the dash is soft touch. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, again, fancy with the design, got a bunch of practical controls on the front, like your volume control, for example, heated steering wheel, adaptive cruise control, you got a regen paddle there on the back. And then yes, this does have a column shifter, and it looks like with that, this probably has the Super Cruise system, which is always a nice thing to have. And then you can see full digital gauge cluster here. And notice on the side, just like the Escalade, this is a touchscreen. So you can use it to adjust different items and also change what the gauge cluster shows. So if I press the map view it'll change the gauge cluster of the map. You can show the energy. It's kind of a cool setup. In reverse, we do have the backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, 360 camera system, so really solid. This infotainment system, by the way, is hot on the back. Definitely gets warm. But yeah, response time's quick. It's easy to use. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff controlled. So for example, if I want to open up the glove box, it's in the infotainment system. And there's the glove box. So there is some of that. Dual zone climate controls down below. And then, ooh, fancy with the blue. I think that's pretty cool. You can see the little USB there down below. Floating center console design. So you've got, you know, controls here on the top and some storage, but then nothing underneath. And then the center console just opens up. Got a wireless phone charging pad there too. It's pretty fun with that. A camera rear view mirror, and then we have the control for the panoramic sunroof. Okay, so the sun of course came out and is now going behind clouds yet again, but we at least have a little bit of sunlight. So now you can see the paint color. And if I open up the door, I think you can really see it here. So notice the color shift to kind of like the blue, inside the blue to the gray. Just a really dynamic color. Try to get a little bit of sunlight for you guys, but yeah, there you go. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility of the hood, both mirrors. And the rear is a little bit lackluster with visibility, but camera rear view mirror, blind spot monitoring, it fixes it. So yeah, I wasn't planning on reviewing a Lyriq today, but really cool color. And so it got me thinking, you know, I should touch base with the Lyriq again, kind of talk about this in scope with everything that's happening with Tesla. And so yeah, we'll do that. And I think the all-wheel drive Lyriq is probably the one to go for. The rear-wheel drive one's fine. Still has good range and everything, but this, you know, with the extra power that it provides and the extra grip you're going to get in snowy conditions and everything with all-wheel drive, it's a little bit better. Now the sound with the Lyriq, this thing I didn't know. Apparently they've taken sound from NASA's instruments that take the sound emitted from the sun in the vacuum of space. Yeah, very confusing stuff, because the vacuum of space isn't supposed to have sound, but it also kind of does, because it has sound, but you can't transmit sound through a vacuum, but then you also kind of can in certain ways, and it's fun physics stuff that I won't even pretend to understand. But regardless, the point that I'm trying to make is apparently that's the sound the Lyriq makes. And it sounds very futuristic, very spaceship-like. It's a very, very strange sound that it makes, the hum. If you ever have a chance, just listen to one as it's rolling by and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's a super, super strange sound. Well, if that's what the sun sounds like, it's pretty cool, right? Now, ride quality with the Lyriq, just like most EVs, actually really good, because the center of gravity is so low, because the weight's so low in the car. It just, the car stays planted, so it makes it really comfortable over bumps and everything in the road, because you're not jostling around because you don't have a bunch of weight up high, right? It's all down low. This is one of the big benefits of electric cars. And then, like I said earlier, with this being the all-wheel drive Lyriq, yeah, it's got some power. It has got some power, right? 500 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque. No slouch. It's no slouch. It'll be interesting to see if they release like an even higher horsepower Lyriq in the future. I think this is a car that they could do like a Lyriq V. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, it's quick. Drives well. So here's what I want to talk about with Tesla and all of that. The Lyriq, I think, fills a gap that Tesla doesn't have. And I know some people will be like, no, Tesla has every gap filled in the electric car market. And, you know, because they've got a couple SUVs, they got a couple cars, and they even have a pickup truck. But the thing about Teslas is they're bland. Teslas are as boring as it gets. They're not particularly fun to drive. They're not particularly comfortable. Like, Tesla's kind of like a jack of all trades, right? It's got pretty good acceleration. It's decently comfortable. and it, you know, it does everything okay, but it's not great. There's not a single thing that Tesla's great at, aside from building a lot of electric cars, right? And so this fills a gap for someone that wants an electric car that actually looks good on the outside and looks good on the inside, has good build quality, and drives well, right? From a luxury perspective, this is a good luxury car. That's where this comes in, where Tesla isn't really filling that market. And then with them doing this crazy paint color, that also helps out. Now, Tesla people are notorious for doing wraps that have like the color shift, but my opinion on that is that's just putting lipstick on a pig, because Tesla's styling is just horrible. They do not make a single car that, like, you don't look like, anyone who knows anything about design, you look at a Tesla and it's grotesque. Whereas this, it actually has some elements of, like, it's not the most beautiful car on the planet, I'm not trying to say that, but it has some good design elements. So putting it all together, the Lyriq fills a gap in the market that Tesla doesn't provide, and that gap in the market is something that looks good on the outside and the inside. It's comfortable, has good build quality. It just feels like a well-built vehicle, unlike what you're going to get with any Tesla at any price point.